You're still watching? It's okay. Koyu, Mama's not mad. This is what I taste like after the gym, by the way. You'll never know, but you'll have to think about it. Now go drink some water, loser.
Damn, what is that, bro?
What you just saw on screen made over 250,000 impressions in 1 week across several platforms. 50K of those were on Reddit alone, which drove many sales to Max Fusion AI. Now, of course, all of my accounts, I generate around 1.4 million impressions a month, and it's growing. I'm telling you this up front because what I'm about to tell you might sound insane to you, but just so you know that it's already been tested at scale. Here's what actually happened here. We noticed that a certain post on Reddit started to go viral. And we also noticed that it's like in a very specific subculture and sub-niche, and it prints attention. Obviously, they showcase muscle mummies, tomboys, mommy's milk, and stuff like that. So the moment I recognized the pattern, we decided that we will go and make a full ad for it. So spotting the subculture is not really the principle. The actual principle is something that most founders watching this will refuse to do. So let me explain why. So principle number one, stop looking for audiences that produce revenue and start looking for subcultures that produce attention. Most founders, when they do these sort of marketing, try to say, okay, if I'm making an ad or I'm making a piece of content, how can I make sure that it would bring me revenue? Like, what would be the target audience that then pay? That's the wrong framework completely. What you need to optimize for is attention. Because if you always do these sort of ads or commercials or piece of content that's supposed to give you revenue, you're just going to do these sort of boring ass LinkedIn ads that competes for the same eyeballs. What I did is I realized where the attention is already being generated and interjected it with my brand. You wouldn't think to do tomboy, thigh sweat, monster flavor, but it did exist already and it did went viral already, and I could leverage it for my brand. That's how I got so many eyeballs on it. You have to realize that when I get these 250,000 impressions, a lot of those actually drive sales because they want to know how it was made. And then I have a guide for it and I point them to it and I point them to the tool. And it's also then showcases my capabilities. The second principle is that when you recognize cringe, you need to lean into it, not away from it. As a founder, you might encounter in your mind with questions of, maybe I shouldn't do it, maybe it's too controversial. That's exactly the point that you need to look for and then lean into it and go beyond it. The post that went viral was images. I said we will make a full commercial from it, which is, you saw the commercial, it's pretty cringe. That's exactly the point. Because what you want is to create a piece of content that half of the people are tagging their friends and half of the people are calling you disgusting. You have to realize that both of these are distribution. You want both of those as engines for your brand. The third principle is that AI collapsed the cost of trying. Back in 2015, you couldn't do it. You couldn't go to a super subculture, recognize what maybe has attention, and then spend tens of thousands of dollars to go and shoot a mock advertise just to see if you get the attention. But now it's so cheap with AI tools today, like Max Fusion, for example, that you can just try these in 10 minutes. I have, by the way, an entire video on how I made this commercial in under 10 minutes, and I one-shot it with no re-rolls. Link is down below. So if you've watched this ad and you had a little voice in your head that says, I would never do that, I'm not judging you for your reaction. I will just tell you what this reaction means. It means you're still operating on an advertisement model that died about a decade ago. We are not in 2010. Nobody cares about your brand, nobody cares about your reputation, and nobody cares about your product. What do I mean by that? Nobody is looking for you, okay? Only after you gain the attention and you go through that door, then you have the luxury to talk about your product. Then you have the luxury to talk about your reputation. Then you have the luxury to showcase your taste and your brilliant ideas on how your product operates or whatever it is. Attention is the only thing that matters, because that's the door and the threshold you have to cross first before anybody even cares who you are. The founders in the comments that say that this is disgusting or this is not the way you should do business are not morally above the game. They're just losing it to guys like me who already figured out where the money is and acted on it. So here's a piece of advice that really matters. Stop optimizing for what your peers will respect or what the industry seem to want, and start optimizing for attention, because that's the only thing that matters. By the way, I drop these breakdowns, guides, and free tools almost weekly. My Telegram channel is getting them first, so I will link that in the description below. It's free. Feel free to join, and I'll see you in the next one.